It doesn't always begin with screaming. In fact, it almost never does. It starts with silence. Thick, intentional, suffocating. Imagine a dinner table, a single glance across the plates, no words, just stillness, and yet your stomach knots. You change your answer, you lower your voice, you comply. That's the power of manipulation when it's done in silence. Not a demand, not even a suggestion, just an atmospheric shift, a recalibration of power. Psychopaths don't need to bark orders. They suffocate choice without touching it. They wrap their control around you like smoke, no grip, yet inescapable. And the terrifying part is, you never even realize when it begins. If this kind of darkness fascinates you, subscribe for more stories that slip under your skin. Now, let's step into the first layer of their control. And be warned, what you're about to feel may not fully leave you. Tactic 1. The freeze out. Most people fight with noise, but a psychopath weaponizes silence. They pull back, withdraw, not because they're hurt, but because they want you to notice, and you do. Your brain fills in the gaps. What did I do? Did I upset them? You reach out, you apologize, sometimes for things you didn't even do. That's the trick. They force you to perform for their attention, to prove you're worthy of being let back in, and when they finally look at you again, speak to you again, it feels like mercy. Not love, not care, just the reward for obedience. This cycle of silence and approval tightens slowly. You learn to anticipate their cold spells, and even blame yourself for them. It rewires your emotional instincts. You no longer ask what's wrong with them. You ask what's wrong with me. And that is how they make you their puppet, without ever lifting a string. Tactic 2. The calculated compliment. At first glance, it feels good. A compliment, so precise, so unexpected, so cuttingly intimate, you almost feel seen. They don't say you're smart. They say, "I love how you see through people. Most can't." They don't call you attractive. They say, "You're dangerous," in the best way. It's hypnotic, because it feels custom-made for your soul. But here's the poison. It's not about making you feel good. It's about tethering you. They elevate you just enough to hook your ego. And then they take it away. Because that unique praise, it fades. And you chase it. You start adjusting your behavior, subtly, desperately, just to hear it again, to earn their validation. Suddenly you're acting out a script you didn't write. You become the version of yourself that they admired, not the version you chose. It's not flattery. It's shaping, like a sculptor smoothing clay. They mold your identity with praise as the blade. You begin to believe they understand something others don't, that you are special, but only through their eyes, and that's the gateway. From there, they can dismantle you, piece by adoring piece. And just when you start to question it, just when you feel that tug of unease, they'll smile and say something so disarmingly perfect, you'll forget everything again. That's how they do it, with silence and sweetness. But both are masks, and they always come off eventually. Sometimes it's not what they take away, but what they become. They don't wear masks the way others do. They wear mirrors, and when you look at them, you see what you want to see, not what's there. This is where it gets harder to breathe, because now they don't just control your feelings, they begin to control your perception of reality. Tactic 3. The chameleon effect. At first, you're amazed at how much you have in common. The same favorite song, the same hidden fear. They know your references, your wounds, your language. They're not just compatible, they're uncanny, like they've lived inside your head before you even met. But this isn't fate, it's a performance. They study you, listen with surgical focus, note your insecurities, mirror your passions, reflect your values back at you as if they shared them all along. And slowly, you fall for an illusion. Because here's the horror. They don't become like you to love you. They become like you to make you love them. That perfect resonance? It's manufactured, crafted with precision, so that by the time they drop the act, you're too entangled to leave. You won't even notice the shift at first. A joke that doesn't land, a gesture that feels off. You dismiss it. They've already built the bond. By the time the cracks start showing, you'll question your own instincts before theirs. Because they didn't just become your soulmate, they became your mirror. And it's hard to shatter your reflection. even when it turns against you. Tactic 4. The empathy echo. This one's harder to spot because it feels like deep emotional intimacy. Imagine telling someone about your trauma, something you've never said out loud, and instead of judgment, they nod. Their eyes glisten, and they say, "I know exactly how that feels." You feel relief, connection. Finally, someone gets it. But here's what you didn't notice. They never actually said what happened to them. They just mirrored your emotion, reflected your pain without offering substance. It wasn't empathy, it was emotional mimicry. Psychopaths use this like a tuning fork. They match your frequency, echo your sorrows, not because they care, but because they know that you do. And the moment you feel understood, your defenses fall. You trust them, you let them in, you share more, you bond, all while they stay perfectly hollow. They're not connecting, they're collecting. Details, reactions, emotional leverage. Your secrets aren't safe. They're ammunition, and when they decide it's time to use them, you'll regret ever opening your mouth. That's the real danger of the empathy echo. You think it's the beginning of healing, but it's actually the beginning of possession. Because once someone knows how to mimic your soul, they can bend it until you no longer recognize your own shape. And the worst part? You'll still call it love. You just step into it because it feels like the right thing to do. That's the difference between manipulation and control. One hides inside your conscience, and psychopaths, they know exactly where that hiding place is. Tactic 5. The manufactured burden. It starts small, a favor, a forgotten promise, a disappointed look. You miss a call and they say, "It's fine, I guess I just thought I mattered." No accusations, just disappointment, subtle, precise, and sharp as a scalpel. You feel it in your chest. Not shame exactly, something deeper. Obligation. They never directly ask for more, but you find yourself giving more anyway, because you owe them, or so you think. They plant that seed in your mind. If I truly care, I'll go the extra mile. If I don't, I'll lose them. And so, you carry it. The emotional load they hand you, piece by piece, until one day, your own needs feel selfish, and theirs feel sacred. They don't just guilt trip you, they guilt weave you, threading shame into your kindness. So it feels wrong to say no. You apologize for feeling tired. You hide your discomfort. You carry their chaos on your back. Because they've convinced you it's your fault if they fall. That's not loyalty, that's conditioning. And it works, because most people don't want to be seen as heartless. Psychopaths twist that instinct, until being good means being controlled. Tactic 6. The reverse victim. This one is poison dipped in tears, because when a psychopath hurts you, they cry first. You confront them. You're calm, you're clear. You say, "That crossed a line." But before you can finish, they break. Their voice trembles. Their pain, sudden, overwhelming, fills the room. "You have no idea what I'm going through. You think I meant to hurt you? You always see the worst in me." Suddenly, you're on defense. Not them, you. You start to comfort them. You apologize for confronting your own pain. That's the magic of the reverse victim. They flip the script so fast, you forget which page you were even on. Now, your anger feels cruel. Your boundaries feel selfish. Your memory tainted by their tears. And the longer this continues, the more you doubt yourself. You become hyper-aware of their moods. You soften your language. You rewrite the past just to keep the peace. And the real cruelty? They don't even believe their own performance. But they know you will, because you want to believe in healing, in change, in the idea that maybe they're just broken. But they're not broken. They're strategic. They know exactly how much of a victim to play, to make you forget you were the one bleeding. And when the dust settles, and you're left holding their sorrow and your silence, you'll wonder how the truth slipped so quietly out the door. There's a moment, quiet, fleeting, when you look around and realize you're alone, not in the literal sense, but emotionally, spiritually. Your support system has gone silent. Your compass scrambled. And somehow, every decision leads back to them. This isn't an accident. It's a design. Tactic 7. The slow disconnection. They never say, "Cut them off." They say, "Are you sure she really gets you?" Or, "He seems jealous. I don't think he wants you happy. They plant doubt. Just a whisper here, a raised eyebrow there. It's not rage, it's corrosion, drip by drip, and you start to question the people you once trusted. You cancel plans, ignore messages, not because you're forced to, but because they've made you feel like no one else really understands you. That's the brilliance of it. You think you're choosing them, but really, they're isolating you. Piece by piece, your world shrinks, until every emotional road runs through them. And when things get rough, when they hurt you, there's no one left to turn to. No witness, no counterweight, just you and the person who built the cage. That's when the real dependency begins. You start to believe you need them, even as they're the ones unmaking you. Tactic 8. The us versus them fantasy. This tactic doesn't just separate you, it binds you, because after they've chipped away your trust in others, they offer you a new reality, a shared secret, a private world, just you and them against everything. They talk about the world like it's broken. Everyone else is fake, shallow, lost. But you two, you're different. You see through the illusion, and in that moment, it feels almost romantic. You're not just a couple. You're co-conspirators. It becomes intoxicating that no one gets us high. You start to feel chosen, special, as if you've been given access to a higher truth. But the cost of that fantasy is isolation. Because now, if someone criticizes them, you don't listen, you defend. You've bought into the idea that everyone else is a threat. So you don't trust warnings. You don't see red flags. You're too busy protecting the bond, even when that bond feels cold. Even when the world they've built starts to crack. You can't leave, because to leave them is to go back to a world you've already been taught to hate. And that's what they wanted all along. Not just your love, not just your loyalty, but your worldview. Because when they own that, they own everything. By now, you've noticed the pattern. Each tactic feeds the next. Each thread wraps tighter until choice feels like an illusion. But there's one final twist. A manipulation so quiet, so complete, it doesn't even feel like control anymore. It feels like devotion. Tactic 9. Conditional peace. There are moments when it feels perfect. The calm after a storm, their arms around you, their words soft again. You think, maybe we're okay now. Maybe this is what love looks like, messy but real. But look closer. That peace, it only exists when you're compliant. When you stop questioning, when you suppress your needs. It's not peace, it's permission. They reward your submission with stillness and punish your resistance with chaos. So you learn the rhythm, you avoid hard conversations, you filter your thoughts, you anticipate their moods, because anything less than perfect harmony leads back to hell. And slowly, your personality flattens. You're not living, you're maintaining, but they'll still call it love, and you'll still cling to those quiet moments because they feel safer than the truth, that you've been trained to fear your own voice. Tactic 10. The betrayal bond. This is the end game, the final act, where logic and emotion split, and survival becomes attachment. Even after all the lies, all the pain, all the cracks, you still feel drawn to them. Why? Because they gave you just enough love to make you hope, just enough suffering to make you question, just enough confusion to keep you hooked. And your brain, starved of clarity, desperate for closure, keeps spinning. Maybe it's me. Maybe I can fix this. Maybe they're hurting too. You rationalize, you minimize, you stay, not because you're weak, but because you've been rewired. That's the betrayal bond. The deeper the wound, the tighter the attachment. You defend them to others. You isolate yourself further. You become their alibi, their witness, their shield, even as your own reflection fades. And here's the most devastating truth of all. They never bonded with you. Only with your loyalty, only with your usefulness. You were never in love. You were in survival. But now, you see it, don't you? The patterns, the tactics, the illusion, and once you see it, it can't control you the same way again. So breathe. Feel the silence around you. This one belongs to you. There's a strange kind of stillness that follows the storm. Not peace exactly, but space. A hollow quiet, where the echo of manipulation still lingers, but no longer commands. If you've seen yourself in these patterns, or someone you care about, you're not alone, and you're not weak. The truth is, the strongest minds are often the most vulnerable, because they search for meaning, connection, depth, and those are the very things a psychopath learns to imitate. So it's not your fault if you trusted the wrong echo. It's not your failure if you believed the illusion. But now, you know how it works. You've seen the blueprint, felt the chill behind the charm, heard the whisper behind the warmth. And that knowledge, it's your key, not to escape instantly, but to begin noticing, naming, reclaiming. Because the most dangerous manipulator isn't the loudest. It's the one who makes you forget the sound of your own voice. But in this quiet, you can hear it again. That small, steady flicker inside you. That says, this isn't love. This isn't me. This isn't the end. Hold on to that. And the next time someone tries to control you with silence, or sweetness, or sorrow, let your silence answer back. Let it say, I see you. And then walk away.